went off on a tangent. I'm giving you guys homework because that's how much seething pain I have. So much seething pain that I spread pain to other people who don't even deserve it because I'm so angry. So do your homework, look up who that is, and remember that to let people have their ego. Feed their fucking ego. But this is the thing. It's not about taking the spotlight. It's not about giving anybody a spotlight. It's about everybody fitting in to below the spotlight. It's kind of like reverse alien invasion. Think of it as reverse alien invasion, right? An alien ship goes, right? But instead of, you can see like a light peering down and like wind blowing and the cows are like somewhere. I don't know why I picture cows. And you can even see some guy looking up with his hands over his eyes because the light from the UFO is so bright. And what was this? So instead of being like, oh my God, alien invasion, run away, you do the opposite. You say, oh my God, let's all get in the alien ship. This is going to be cool. So everybody gets in. You don't push people out, right? You're in a small enough group that you don't push people out. There's a certain point where there's not enough space, and then you have to push somebody out. But that's a whole different situation. I'm talking about there's a small enough group to fit in there. If you are following this bias, you're gonna start pushing people out of this thing, right? Out of this light that's gonna bring you up in the spaceship and take you off to space. You're gonna start pushing people off of this light because you think that if they get on, you won't be winning. No. Let them get on. Let them have the fun of being abducted by aliens with you. Everybody under the light. Right? You still get your spotlight. That's not taken away. You still get to let your ego out. You still let to fulfill it instead of like everything else that's bad to do, just hide it away, you know? It's the same with everything. Anything you hide away just turns bad. It's weird how that works, but it just is. You know? Illegalize drugs, and then suddenly the people who are doing drugs, they fester, and then they can't get help because they might get, this or that in trouble, and then build a whole system of shame around it, rather than this is bad, you need help, but not, oh, you're terrible. Oh, and don't give them assistance. Because, people on drugs don't need to eat. They need to be off drugs, even though I won't help them get off drugs. Darn. And then they should choose not to make my crime rate higher. Fuck that. Think about it. And then you got when this is all America. The prohibition of alcohol. You got that going on. And what festers in there? People are doing it anyway. People are doing it in crazy ways. It goes unaccounted for. So you can have bad distilleries making dangerous chemical reactions that blow people up or poison people. And you got the mafia that starts in there. And it's just all throughout. You'll find that that's the case. Things start getting hidden, and then they become terrible. What's another good example? Probably another good example is the things that get hidden from people forever. Like people need to hide their shadow. That sounds weird because just walk away from the fucking light. Right? Or no, you're hiding a shadow. Stand in front of the fucking light, right? No. By shadow, I mean the bad self, the stuff that you did that was bad, or the stuff that you're not proud of, blah 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 blah, and not just the mistake part. You notice that when people say, "Oh, you don't have to be perfect," they mean like They mean it's okay that you made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, you know? How many people are willing to say out loud that they deliberately hurt another person? Not mistake, not, oh, I suddenly, I just got angry. No, you're going back and you're thinking, I wanted this person hurt and I went and did it. Now, you can feel remorse. That's not what I'm saying. But that's different than a mistake. Does that make sense? A mistake is sort of, things happen. I wasn't thinking straight. I didn't mean for it to happen, but it kind of just put your memory of the situation is different. You think of it as this is not me. No, it's not like that. It's more like, since it's in the past, that wasn't me. That was me in a situation and things going bad. Which is not, it's not necessarily an excuse. Don't think like, oh, they're excusing their behavior. It's not like that. They truly think that what they're doing is like that. They might truly be remorseful. This doesn't discount remorse from the equation. But what it does is doesn't allow for the concept of truly thinking that you've done something truly bad to another person on your own volition. That is a whole nother level from mistake. Does that make sense? And how many people are willing to admit that? Even the people who say, oh, you don't have to be perfect. Are they willing to admit they've done that? Are they willing to hear or be friends with somebody who's willing to say that? I don't know. I don't think so. Not the way our world works. Our unforgiving world. And then wonders why people do things. Anyway. So yeah, people hide that. But then when you hide that shadow, it festers. When you don't expose it to other people. And, to say you don't have to expose it to other people, it's an odd way to put it, because you're still hiding it if you're forcing yourself not to expose it to other people. You know what I mean? But it's not imperative that you expose it to other people. It's more imperative that you know it yourself, and you're willing to look at it and observe it. And I hate the word accept, but I guess accept fits in this too. Except I've always felt accept has a sort of submit. And I know it's technically not, but that's how I grew up with the word. It's just like if I grow up with the word discipline, meaning one thing, and then somebody else says it in a different way, I won't agree with them. Like it was very hard for me to wrap my mind around Jocko Willink's shout out idea of discipline equals freedom. Discipline equals freedom. That's my best discipline. I can't do it. Discipline equals. Yeah, I can't do his voice. Yes. Good. Yeah, discipline equals freedom. I've understood it now, but at first I couldn't wrap my head around it because it just didn't. The word meant something different to me, and that it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to put it together like that. And I think the same way with acceptance. Acceptance is a weird word for me when it's put in the way that I'm putting it now, where you actually see something and be like, okay, that is real. I'm not going to put it away. I'm not going to disregard it. That is real. For me, acceptance goes like, I accept, like I submit. Not submit in a bad way. Not necessarily. I accept your offer. That could be good. But it's, I submit to it. So yeah. Where the fuck was I going? So yeah, things fester in the dark. Things fester when you're put away. And it's, the shadow I'm talking about, because you're not talking to me. I'm talking to you. This is weird. We're not having a conversation. This isn't a conversation. This is just me talking to you and you listening. You listening over there while I'm talking to you. You're not talking to me. This isn't a conversation. This doesn't mean we're together in this. You don't know. How would you feel? How would you? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, if you hide the ego in the same way you hide the shadow, the same way you hide all those other things, it will fester into something bad. It will fester into something like, in this way, it's more like it wants to get out. So it's scratching at the surface and trying to bust itself out. And because it's doing that, it's scratching at the top, which is causing problems, or you have a bad relation with the world around you because it directly or subliminally forces you to not express that part of yourself. And you feel betrayed and at a loss to the very people that you want to not impress is the wrong word. There's a better word than impress, but bear with me, bear arms with me, and just think of it, impress the people around you. So, and you can see that with, the shadow part too. How can people expose their shadow if we live in a non-forgiving world? And the funny thing is, a world that is willing, first of all, everybody's like this. That's the weird thing. Everybody has an ego that they want to express. Everybody has a shadow that they were willing if they had the courage, they'd be willing to share. Even without the details, all the details. This happens with sexuality too. You'll have, when you have a repressed concept of sexuality, you have more bad stuff happen within it. Sexual repression causes so many issues, and it's like something wants to come out, but it's not allowed to, but it wants to, and you want to express it to the very people who are simultaneously pushing it down, but it wants to bubble up, and it wants to come out. So rather than the champagne, nicely pouring out into the glass, it's bubbling up until it explodes. And sometimes it explodes out and it's like, it just causes issues that are normal. Like, you could say, sexuality without sexual objectification, but how do we say it? I feel like most people aren't truly sexual objectifying unless they've went through a various, sexual repression. So there's a lot of people there's a false idea of what they're doing as sexual objectification, but it's because we have the split. You can think somebody is amazing. They're intelligent. They're courageous. They are charming. They're charismatic. They're this and this. But, as soon as the idea, I want to have sex with them, all that immediately goes into the trash, and you're left with only the idea that the person wants to have sex with them. But that's not how people think. And people out there, you may have friends of another gender, and you think, oh, we're just friends. They might want to fuck you. But that's okay, because you can still be friends and still have an attraction of sexuality. It's not a split, stabbing, fucking fearful thing. And if we understood that better, we'd progress better. We would have less problems, but we don't, because everybody's a fucking coward. And then you have the real problems is that, sometimes it doesn't explode out the top. The champagne bottle explodes in your hand. I don't know if that actually can happen, but just imagine it happens. And that's, when we get into the worst problems. So yeah, going back to ego, don't let it fester. Don't let it sit in there. And then it won't go bad. And then accept other people as wanting to do the same and encourage them. encourage them to express their sexuality, encourage them to express their their shadow. Yeah. Okay, guys. So I'm going to go again. This was a short episode again. Well, not really. I mean, it's 15 minutes each, 30 minutes in total. So hope you guys had fun. Next time. Oh, and I purposely left it out. I'm going to try to see with Nico if we could do daily routines next. So, and mention PT, which I mentioned at the beginning of the last episode. Okay. Signing off. Bye.